For those of you who've just come in, we're going to give it one more minute so we can get a few more people coming in, and then we'll get started.
Hello.
All right. So welcome everyone to this, what's sure to be uh, a super uplifting meeting. I'm sorry in advance for dragging you down on a Friday afternoon. We are going to get started here, and I just want to thank you for taking some time to learn about, where we are and where we might be going for the affordable connectivity going forward. I think I probably know most people on the call, but for those who I don't know, I'm Leslie Scott. I'm the Digital Inclusion Program Manager for KC Digital Drive. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Got just a few slides here. We do this all the time, and still every time it's like a discovery. So here we go. And if you end up with questions, I can tell you just from off the bat here, what I'm going to share with you today is pretty much what we know as of now. So I will do my best to answer questions, but I put pretty much everything that we are aware of today in this slide deck, which we will definitely send out afterwards. So as you know, we're here to talk about the ACP wind down, which just is, a little bit of a fancy way of saying that this program is going to be running out of funding and ending soon. So what we know is that the last fully funded month of this program is projected to be April of this year. And because of that, the last day to enroll in the program and get it applied to your account is going to be February 7th. And we have been doing an outreach campaign that was funded by an FCC grant, and that activity will also end on this date. And the application for ACP will no longer be available as of February 8th. So the site will be changed to remove that application, and there's not really any danger that somebody will apply and then not get the benefit because they won't even be able to apply. The last fully funded month will be probably announced in late February. And that's going to trigger additional notifications to ACP households. And the first of the notifications actually had to be sent out to them by the end of yesterday. So customers have started to hear from their internet service providers that this program is ending. They're going to need to send those notifications out a minimum of 3 times, and we'll get into more of that here in just a little bit. So we'll know more soon when 60 days prior to the end of the last fully funded month, so the last time that people will get their full up to $30 for their discount, the FCC will announce the last fully funded month. So, and again, I want to give a hat tip to NDIA, who I completely stole their slides from, and leaning on them because of their connection to the FCC. They're working always to refine the information that we know, and so as any of that is further refined and we get additional information, we'll be sure to send that information out to you all. But this is what they knew as of the time that they had these slides put together, which was I think last week. And so we're looking at the last fully funded month again of April of 2024, which means if that's correct, then the FCC would make an announcement of the last fully funded month, probably on March 1st, or even a few days before that. So I mentioned that the providers are required to notify their customers a minimum of 3 times in writing. The first notice was already sent out. And then the second one is going to be 15 days after the FCC announces that last fully funded month of ACP. So in the previous slide, we talked about it being March 1st. So that means 15 days after March 1st, we're looking at an estimated of mid-March. And then the third notice is going to be included in the customer's last bill or their last billing cycle with the ACP benefit. So they would be informed that one last time that it's ending. So here's a little bit more about what's included in those notifications. So the one that had to be sent out by the end of yesterday just needed to say that there's a possibility the program's ending. And, from the examples I'm seeing from those communications, there's not a lot more information than that. And so as far as the potential impact on their bill, they took that to be, just as vague as it might need to be at this time, and left that open pretty much. And we're hoping that they'll be providing more details soon to customers. Then notifications 2 and 3 have to show the end date of the last bill. The ACP will be applied, so it has to say that the program will be ending, and this is the the last date you'll get the subsidy. It will have to also say that whatever that bill amount is going to be without the ACP discount, or have a statement that they'll be subjected to undiscounted rates. So if it's not clear based on the information they receive, it could be customers are kind of left in the dark about what their bill might be. And so that's going to be very concerning for those of us who are wanting to make sure that this transition goes as smoothly as possible for the people we serve. So hopefully, the providers will be leaning more toward more detail, but at this time, we're not sure what that's going to look like. And then the notification also has to include that they can change their service or opt out of continuing their service at the end of ACP. Optional information that would be helpful if they could include, but it's not required, is that providers uh, before had most of them had low cost or low income plans. So if they could include whatever future low cost or low income plans they're going to offer, as well as a phone number or website link to those plans, that would be great. But the FCC did not require that information. Again, I borrowed all this information from the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, which is a national organization on the front lines advocating for digital inclusion policy, as well as providing great practitioner support on the ground for organizations like who are on the call today, as well as Casey Digital Drive. So we're very grateful for them packaging this information in a way that is just a little bit more helpful to see visually. So this is just going to show the timeline in a little bit of a different way that maybe is a little easier to wrap your head around. So again, we'll be sending out these slides so you have this timeline to refer to. So the communications requirements, they do have to be in writing and accessible to persons with disabilities. Unfortunately, there's no other specific wording or format required. They do have to be consistent with whatever the customer said was their communication preference. So if they said they wanted to get email, a text, or get their information by paper mail, and then the providers are encouraged to run an awareness campaign about the end of the program, but again are not required. So that may or may not happen. I haven't seen anything quite yet, but you know, we didn't really know for sure how this was going to work until the FCC released their order on the wind down and announced that February 7th date. So providers are still adjusting just like we are. So now to the confusing part. Providers must get an additional opt-in from a customer to continue service if that customer had not already been an active customer prior to applying the ACP benefit to their plan. So in other words, they didn't have service with that provider, and they applied for ACP, and as a result of getting the benefit, then they decided to sign up for service. And if they were not paying any amount, so in other words, it was free with ACP, so $30 or less per month, then they absolutely, the provider must get an active opt-in to continue that service. Um, sorry, my slides are out of order. I'll fix that before we send it. The providers don't need an additional opt-in to continue service if the household has acknowledged that they've read a disclosure when they enrolled. And so we know, there's always those disclosures that we have to acknowledge that we have read before we, go further. And Sometimes we read them and sometimes we don't, as we all know. And then also if a customer has demonstrated a willingness and ability to pay. So if they have informed their provider that they're going to continue providing, that the provider may continue providing service after ACP ends, or if someone has been a customer before, so they had service, um, you know, needed help paying for it, qualified for the program, signed up and got it applied to their account, then the provider does not need to get any kind of additional opt-in to continue that service. Also, if they have, let's say their bill is $50 a month for internet and they're getting the $30 off, so they've been paying a $20 fee every month, they do not need to get that additional opt-in. So, um, a lot of times, a lot of people are going to fall into into these categories. And what will happen is that their bill will just return to whatever the amount was prior to ACP for the plan that they're currently on. So the FCC and USAC. So USAC is the nonprofit that has been contracted by the FCC to do the applications for both ACP and Lifeline. And so they'll be doing some communications as well. They'll be updating their websites, and they'll also be sending out communications materials to the households. And they have created this fact sheet as well. And there's a link there that you can take a look after the webinar and just get some additional information. Hopefully that FAQ or that fact sheet will be updated regularly as they understand more, maybe what's not clear. So some of the things that the FCC is recommending is that the customers are looking for their email from the FCC on updates, and they can also visit these websites, that they contact their internet company, and this is really important. So people should really be on top of this and, taking a look at their bill now and seeing, what they might be needing to pay after the discount is removed from their account. I think, we get a lot of bills and sometimes it's just easy to lose sight of an increase. And so, $30 can be a big jump for some families. There's this FAQ that the FCC has put together, and people can take a look at that, and hopefully that will help as well. And then if they'd like to give a call to the ACP Support Center for any other questions, they can contact that number there. And that is the support center that USAC is running, so they're going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. There are some actions that you can take as well. And again, just helping people understand their bill and switch if they need to change their internet plans to something that might be more affordable. So we're recommending that people contact their provider now and ask to be switched to a low-cost plan or cancel their service if necessary as of April 30th. So, they can keep the ACP discount in their account, but if they know it's going to be a hardship after that ACP benefit is removed, then they can contact their provider now. They will probably want to stay on top of that and check again as the date gets closer, because we're relying on something to happen fairly far in the future. And just want to recommend that they don't just call once, but check again as April 30th comes upon us. You can partner with us, and we can help you help the people you serve understand their bill and the low-cost plans that they can choose from once the ISPs make that information available. Currently, the ISPs have not revealed what their low-cost plans might be. As I mentioned, they had low-cost plans prior to the ACP being in existence, and so they may return to those, they may have different ones. We're just really not sure what that might look like, but we can definitely help you assist those you serve, understand their bill, and whether or not they have a plan that might be suitable for their household. And then I just encourage you to engage with organizations like NDIA. Um, I was on a call yesterday with them. They are currently trying to make some recommendations on what a low-cost plan might look like that will work for people who have been relying on ACP. And some of the criteria that they are recommending is that it includes the same qualifying programs. So, there was a list of federal programs that qualified people for ACP. They recommend that they keep those same programs, that they keep 100 over 20 um, service minimum for the plans, and not have some slow speed plan that's not going to work for households. And that, one of the great things about the ACP was that even if someone owed a company money, so, maybe I had Spectrum and lost my job, wasn't able to pay my bill, they disconnected me. And then I got ACP and I wanted to get Spectrum service again. The company couldn't deny me because I owed a past due balance. And then also not allowing them to charge installation or equipment fees as a part of the service. So that's an evolving conversation, and is really just getting started. As I mentioned, NDIA was asking for feedback yesterday on that. If you're interested in getting engaged in that conversation, I'm happy to connect you with the NDIA staff working on that. So, there's a glimmer of hope here. There was, a bill that was introduced earlier this month. It is bipartisan and bicameral, which means it was introduced in both the House and the Senate. You can see the sponsors here. And in addition, should you or your organization be interested in doing some advocacy around ACP, there is a link to the NDIA toolkit, as well as there's a recently launched website, don'tdisconnectus.org, and I provided the links to both of those. We'll say it sounds like even if something were passed, that we're likely to see a lapse of some kind, so there will probably be a gap. And so, we're still probably going to be looking at those activities regardless, at least initially, to help households get through that gap, and then hopefully we would be able to help them return to, a higher plan if that's something they could afford, or other ways that they might modify their internet service. So that's the end of the presentation. Again, I can try and answer any questions. This is my contact information, and we'll be certainly staying in communication with you as more information is revealed. We want to be a resource for you as we're trying to help people through this transition. And so I'll be keeping on top of that and communicating out. But, in the meantime, if you have questions or would like any kind of assistance helping the people you serve transition, then please feel free to reach out. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And if anybody has any questions, you can just feel free to unmute or raise your hand, either one. Yeah, Joe.
Hey, so as you know, we're kind of working possibly about trying to get some people signed up here in the last few days, but just you're thinking, I mean, what's the value of getting people signed up between now and that end of the sign up period?
Well, it will, I had a professor in grad school. We would ask questions and he would say it depends, and it used to drive me crazy. But I am afraid to say it depends, and I'll tell you why. It's just a matter of how long it takes to get applied to their bill. So they may be in the middle of a billing cycle, um, and it won't be applied until their next billing cycle. So at a minimum, they could possibly get 2 or 3 months. It just depends.
And does this get them kind of locked? I mean, in the communication portal also to if it gets
Yeah.
refunded? I mean, is there
Um, Probably. It would just depend on the rules that Congress decided on as far as the new rules. So there were rules that said they had to promote the Affordable Connectivity Program, but if those same rules are not implemented, then they may not do that. But I will say that um, ISPs are across the board for re-upping this program. So I would definitely think that they would communicate that out. Does that help, Joe?
yes, yeah, sure, thanks.
Anybody else? Well, I know this was just warmest and fuzziest of news to share with you all. I've been on multiple webinars talking about this. It's a mad scramble at nonprofits doing this work across the country to you know for a couple of things. One is to just kind of mitigate that feeling, like the rug got pulled out from underneath you. I think that is definitely um something that we're all concerned about. It feels like you just get a little help maybe sometimes and then it ends and you're back again. So, just know there are a lot of people um, who are promoting contacting their elected officials in Washington. We're not necessarily organizing anything like that, but I'm happy to connect you with people who are. Um, and I would say, um, if that's something you're interested in doing, there's a lot of support for it from organizations with tools and trying to make it as easy as possible. Um, but this is where we are right now and what we know. Any Anything else? Any comments? Anybody have any just comments that they want to share or feelings or maybe how you're predicting that you might help those you serve navigate this transition? We'd love suggestions.
Hi, this is Kayla Davidson. I work with Phoenix Family with Senior Homes. And one thing that I'm already preparing for is in the region that I'm at, it's the predominant one is specifically Spectrum. And I've had decent luck with my residents who live in affordable housing with just simply calling Spectrum and saying, I'm elderly, I live in affordable housing. If you can't help me out, then I'm just going to have to terminate my services. And I've had decent luck with Spectrum giving some of them just a direct discount from them.
Yeah, I think that that's a great point, Kayla. I mean, um some plans are very cut and dried. Google Fiber's cost is just Google Fiber's cost. Um, but Spectrum does a lot with their promotional pricing, and so I think they have some flexibility. And that could be the case with others. We're waiting to hear from Google Fiber what their low cost options are. They created a 300 meg um, $30 plan for ACP, which was about 3 times the speed of the other providers for that price. Um, and so as soon as we get that confirmation, we'll start sending those out. But yeah, great point. Anyone else have any ideas how they're going to proceed or want to share? Yeah, I can say this is really representative of the national conversation, y'all. Um, we're all at kind of a loss for words. So again, Casey Digital Drive. Oh, Marcus has his hand up. Sorry, Marcus.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and just to put it out there and learn how to, yeah, put these words to it. But in addressing, I know I just had to. We had a community lunch yesterday, and I had a number of community members talking to me about their cost of living, their annual raise, and their cost of living, which isn't meeting their raise of rent, and so and that conversation was just having, it was very delicate. And our avenues of voice um are tricky to find, especially when emoting, you know and so I'm glad that we have this time to talk and listen and even just vent. Sometimes I question, like, why why am I on this call? you know but it's really, if I don't say anything, then I don't get something out of it. And if I don't hear something, I don't get something out of it. And so I'm really just learning how to find that voice and deal with, the pressures of the people I work with. So thanks for holding this. And if anyone, wants to continue these conversations, I'm always down.
Yeah,
Hi.
and go ahead.
Yeah, so sharing Mirador with Kansas City Public Library, just even if you're having conversations with um, people that are participatory in these programs that don't have concerns about not having Wi-Fi, just remind them that the Kansas City Public Library, we do have hotspots, we do have Chromebooks here that they can borrow, just like you would borrow a book. And also that we have free Wi-Fi here. So if they have even a laptop or even their phones, they can always come in here and utilize the Wi-Fi that we have during business hours, of course.
Yeah, great point. Library is an amazing resource.
With that, going off of that, excuse me, is that just for student age kids, or can anyone who has a library card like check out hotspots or anything like that?
Anyone who has a library card can check out hotspots. The only caveat to that is the person has to, there's a specific card that they have to have, and that card is attached to us being able to verify an address. So we do have like public ones, and then we have new reg. So the public ones, with that library card, you can do hotspots and Chromebooks, but that just means we were able to verify the address with either an identification or like a bill or a lease.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Carl Wade with Local Investment Commission, better known as Link. We serve 54 sites. I'm on here with my colleagues, Joe, Latricia, Katrina, Raul, for joining us, and Drake. Just looking forward to having an event next Friday or next week with you guys at one of our sites to try to promote this with our families at one of our school sites.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. And Kyra, um, I will say that I have not heard there's much of an appetite for regulating the costs of internet at this time. So that's just not, I don't think a thing we can probably rely on anytime soon. And to Marcus's point earlier, I will also add that a lot of the national calls I've been on are about venting. And so definitely if that's in addition to anything that's helpful, like the library resource, I mean, if anybody just wants to express their exasperation, this is a safe space. Right. Well, again, we're here. If you end up with questions that hit you in the shower or as you are serving your folks, we also can, show up on site to help. And so just let us know if we can be of any assistance. And if there aren't any last minute questions or comments, we'll go ahead and give you some time back today. Last call. All right. Well, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a wonderful weekend, all.